In the last training, we took a detailed look at a sample CV as well as a sample cover letter, and we got to see how a professional CV and a professional cover letter ought to be tailored and packaged, right down from the contact, from the titling of the CV to the contact details to the career development, career objective, educational, personal, to the very tail end where you input your references. And we saw how all these things ought to be packaged, as well as the CV, which is a professional document that also accompanies the CV. Now, many people don't know that the letter of application or the letter of inquiry, which you submit alongside the CV, is professionally called a cover letter. So we got to see all those things in the last training. Now, for this training, we are going to look at the key differences between a CV and resume, as well as the similarities. Some persons often get confused when they hear the word resume and when they also hear the word CV. And many of my trainees, they keep on asking, is there a difference or are they the same thing? So we are going to finally see the similarity or the differences between these two words. Now, take a very good look at the picture you are seeing on the screen. That's the mother and the baby, the child. Now, ask yourself visually, look at it. Are they doing the same thing? Pause. Think about it. Are they doing the same thing? Both of them are raising up their legs, right? But are they doing the same thing? Are they really doing the same thing? Now, some will say yes, they are doing the same thing. Some will say no, they are not doing the same thing. But here is the truth, the fact of the matter. They are doing the same thing, because both of them are raising up their legs, but they are not doing exactly the same thing. How and why? The mother's legs are raised up, but they are put together. You see it there. Whereas the baby's legs are raised up, but spread apart. Just in the same way, the CV and the resume, they do the same thing, but they don't do exactly the same thing. They are meant for the same purpose, but they don't do exactly the same thing. Now, let me explain better so you see. Now, first, the curriculum vitae is the Latin word for course of life or your life activities generally. So that is what the curriculum vitae is. Whereas the resume is a French word, it's French for summary, the summary of your life activity. So both of them are the same, but the curriculum vitae is Latin word and the resume is French. Now, both the CV and the resume, they are tailored. Here at the CV, they are tailored for the specific job or company you are applying to. Both of them, they do that. Then both of them represent you as the best candidates, meaning that they are your professional call card and they can be used to get you an interview. Do not usually include personal interest. And if you are applying for both academic as well as industry, private or public position, then there will be the need to prepare both a resume and a CV. Now, curriculum vitae versus resume. The curriculum vitae as well have already been seen present a full history of your academic credentials. So the length of the document is variable. Whereas in contrast, the resume presents a concise picture of your skills. The resume is always more brief, it's shorter. That's whereas the curriculum vitae may run into like 2, 3, 4, in some cases like the composite and CV could run into several pages. The resume is often always a one-page document. So length tends to be shorter and dictated by years of experience. but it is generally 1 page or 2 pages at the most. CVs are usually by individuals seeking fellowship grant, postdoctoral positions, and teaching / research position in post-secondary institution or high-level research positions in industry. So graduate school application typically request a CV, but in general, looking for a resume that includes any publications and description of research projects. In many European countries, CV is used to describe all job documents, all job application documents, including a resume. In the United States and Canada, CV and resumes are sometimes used interchangeably, but most commonly resume. If you are not sure which kind of document to submit, it's best to ask for clarification. Now let me make this very, very clear. In the British environment, the European environment, they make use of the CV. In Nigeria, we make use of the CV because we were colonized by the British. So British and European companies, they will always demand for a resume from you. Oftentimes when you say submit a CV, it is usually a British company, but American companies like Chevron, for instance, will often ask for a resume. So whereas the British companies, they ask for a CV, the American companies we often ask for a resume. You see the difference there, but they still do the same thing. So herein lies the differences and the similarities between the CV and the resume. So anytime you hear submit a resume, check if it's an English company. It's often an English company. And if you are not specifically told to submit either a resume or a CV, or you get confused which one to submit, check out if it's an English, if it's a British company or a European company. Like Shell, for instance, is a British company. If it's a British company, you submit a CV. If it's an American company, you submit a resume. Or generally in Nigeria, any company you are submitting such document to, it should be a CV, unless you are specifically asked to submit a resume. And remember that you do not title it with curriculum vitae or resume. It is not needed. So with that, we are going to conclude this training. And when we come back, we are going to look at the various stages that your job application goes through, talking about your CV, the different stages that it goes through. Thank you.